Namaste everyone, welcome to Physio Vitals. I'm Dr. Ankita Sawant and today's topic is ulna. So moving further, introduction. Ulna is the medial bone of the forearm and is homologous with the fibula of the lower limb. It has upper end, shaft and lower end. Moving further to site determination. Upper end is hook-like with its concavity directed forward. See, ulnar bone has a hook-like appearance. I'll show you. See, this is hook-like appearance. Alright. Yeah. The lateral border of the shaft is sharp. In radius bone, we already discussed that in radius, the medial border is sharp. In ulna's lateral border is sharp and it is crest-like. Then pointed styloid process lies posterior-medial to the rounded head of the ulna and its lower end. Moving further to the features. Now, as we know that ulna has upper end, shaft and lower end, right? So, in upper end, we have olecranon process, coronoid process, trochlear process and radial notch. So, in olecranon, we have 5 surfaces and that surfaces are, first is anterior surface. That anterior surface articulates, anterior surface is articular. It forms the upper part of the trochlear notch. I'll show you the diagram. See, this is olecranon process. Alright, and it is articular. Alright, it is articular. It forms the upper part of the trochlear notch. Then it has posterior surface. In posterior surface forms a triangular subcutaneous area which is separated from the skin by a bursa. Inferiorly, it is continuous with the posterior border of the shaft of the ulna. Alright. Moving further to the medial border. Medial border is continuous inferiorly with the medial surface of the shaft. Medial border is continuous inferiorly with the medial surface of the shaft. Lateral surface is smooth, continuous as posterior surface of the shaft. Superior surface now. In its posterior part shows a roughened area. So, these were all 5 surfaces of olecranon process. That is anterior surface, posterior surface, medial, lateral and superior. Alright, moving further to coronoid process. In coronoid process, we have superior surface, anterior surface, lateral and medial surface, 4 surfaces. So, and a superior surface forms the lower part of the trochlear notch. Alright, superior surface. I'll show you all in the diagram. See, this is the superior surface of the coronoid process. Alright, this area. Now anterior surface. It is triangular and rough. Its lower corner forms the ulnar tuberosity. Alright, anterior surface. I'll show you. See, over here it is ulnar tuberosity. Moving on to the lateral surface. The upper part of its lateral surface is marked by the radial notch for the head of the radius. The annular ligament is attached to the anterior and posterior margin of the notch. The lower part of the lateral surface forms a depressed area to accommodate the radial tuberosity. It is limited behind by a ridge called supinator crest. See, this is radial notch. Alright, so radial notch for the head of the radius. On the ulnar bone, we have, on the lateral side of the ulnar bone, we have radial notch for head of the radius to articulate. The annular ligament is attached to the anterior and posterior margin of the notch. The lower part of the lateral surface forms a depress. Now, same ulnar का lateral border में lower part में we have the annular ligament, the lower part of the lateral surface forms a depressed area to accommodate the radial tuberosity. It is limited behind by a ridge called as supinator crest. So just below we have radial tuberosity. Alright. As you can see here, medial surface. Medial surface is continuous with medial surface of the shaft. Moving further to the trochlear notch. Trochlear notch forms an articular surface that articulates with the trochlea of the humerus to form the elbow joint. See, this is trochlear notch. This notch is for articulation of the trochlea of the humerus to form the elbow joint. So, trochlea of the humerus comes and articulates in the trochlear notch of the ulna and thus forms the elbow joint. Alright. So again we saw olecranon has 5 surfaces. Coronoid has superior, anterior, lateral, medial 4 surfaces. We saw trochlear process of trochlear notch. It should be notch, not process. Then we are moving further to radial notch. Now radial notch articulates with the head of the radius to form the superior radioulnar joint. Alright. See, now radial notch on the lateral surface with the annular ligament it is. Alright, I'll show you the diagram as well. Here you can see the radial notch. This is the radial notch. So, articulates with the head of the radius to form the superior radioulnar joint. Moving further to the shaft. The shaft has 3 borders and 3 surfaces. We'll first see the borders. So, first border is lateral border or interosseous border. Is the sharpest in its middle to 2/4. Inferiorly, it can be traced to the lateral side of the head. Superiorly, it is continuous with the supinator crest. Moving further, see, I'll show you, this is the lateral border or the interosseous border. Alright. Now, moving further to the anterior border. Now, anterior border is thick and rounded. It begins above on the medial side of the ulnar tuberosity, passes backwards in its lower 1/3 and terminates at the medial side of the styloid process. Moving further to the posterior border. It is subcutaneous. It begins above the apex of the triangular subcutaneous area at the back of the olecranon and terminates at the base of the styloid process. Alright, so we have 3 borders: lateral border, anterior and posterior border. Moving further to the surfaces. Again, in surfaces we have 3 surfaces: anterior surface, medial surface and posterior surface. In anterior surface lies between the anterior and interosseous border. Right? Anterior and interosseous border. Here you can see this is anterior and this is interosseous. So this surface is anterior surface, this whole surface. Alright. Then a nutrient foramen is seen on the upper part of this surface. It is directed upwards. The nutrient artery is derived from the anterior interosseous artery. So this is nutrient artery over here. Moving further to the medial surface now. It lies between the anterior and posterior border. Alright, medial surface is between anterior border and posterior border. Moving further to posterior surface, which lies between the posterior and interosseous border. It is subdivided into 3 areas by 2 lines. An oblique line divides it into upper and lower part. The lower part is further divided by a vertical line into a medial and a lateral area. Moving further to the lower end now. In lower end is made up of head and the styloid process. Alright, head and styloid process. The head articulates with the ulnar notch of the radius to form the inferior radioulnar joint. I'll show you. Yes, so this is inferior radioulnar joint. So, the lower end is made up of head and the styloid process. The head articulates with the ulnar notch of the radius to form inferior radioulnar joint. It is separated from the wrist joint by articular disc. Ulnar artery and nerve lies on the anterior aspect of the head of the ulna. Alright. Now, we will move further to the attachments. So first we have triceps muscle. So triceps muscle is inserted into the rough posterior part of the superior surface of the olecranon. Posterior and superior surface of the olecranon. The anterior part of the surface is covered by the bursae. Now moving further to the brachialis. Triceps is done, now brachialis muscle. It is inserted into the anterior surface of the coronoid process, including the tuberosity of the ulna. Alright, so brachialis muscle. Moving further to the supinator, arises from the superior crest and from the triangular area in front of the crest. So this is supinator. This. Alright. Now next is flexor digitorum superficialis. Flexor digitorum superficialis arises from a tubercle at the upper end of the medial margin of the coronoid process. As you can see here, this oblique muscle, flexor digitorum superficialis. Alright. Now pronator teres, it arises from the medial margin of the coronoid process. As you can see here, it's the medial margin of the coronoid process. Now flexor digitorum profundus. This muscle is flexor digitorum profundus, arises from the upper 3/4 of the anterior and medial surface of the shaft, the medial surface of the coronoid and olecranon process, the posterior border of the shaft through an aponeurosis, which also gives origin to the flexor carpi ulnaris and extensor carpi ulnaris. Now pronator quadratus. It takes origin from the oblique ridge of the lower part of the anterior surface. This is the lower part, this is the oblique ridge. So it arises from the oblique ridge of the lower part of the anterior surface of the ulna. Moving further to flexor carpi ulnaris. So this flexor carpi ulnaris arises from the medial side of the olecranon process and from the posterior border. Alright, flexor carpi ulnaris. Extensor carpi ulnaris arises from the posterior border. Moving further to anconeus muscle. Anconeus is inserted into the lateral aspect of the olecranon process and the upper 1/4 of the posterior surface of the shaft. Moving further to abductor pollicis longus. Lateral part of the posterior surface gives origin from the above downward to the abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis longus and extensor indicis. So lateral part of the posterior surface. Posterior surface lateral part gives origin from above downwards to the abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis longus and extensor indicis. Moving further to the interosseous membrane. Interosseous membrane is attached to the interosseous border. So this whole green part is interosseous membrane. Alright, this is interosseous membrane. Oblique cord is attached to the ulnar tuberosity. Now oblique cord is attached to the ulnar tuberosity. Now capsular ligament of the elbow joint. It is attached to the margin of the trochlear notch, in essence to the coronoid and olecranon process. Capsular ligament. Alright, so attached to the margin of the trochlear notch, in essence the coracoid and olecranon process. Annular ligament of the superior radio-ulnar joint is attached to the two margin of the radial notch of the ulna. Alright, I'll show you the diagram. Annular ligament. See this annular ligament, radial notch on the lateral surface with annular ligament. We also have ulnar collateral ligament of the wrist is attached to the styloid process, and an articular disc of the inferior radio-ulnar joint is attached by its apex to a small rough area just lateral to the styloid process. So this was all about the attachments. Moving further to the ossification. So upper end is ossifies by the primary center. The shaft and most of the upper end ossifies from the primary center, which appears during the 8th week of development. The superior part of the olecranon process ossifies from a secondary center, which appears during the 10th year. It forms a scale-like epiphysis which joins the rest of the bone by 16th year. The lower end ossifies from a secondary center which appears during the 5th year and joins with the shaft by 18th year. This is the growing end of the bone. Moving further to the clinical anatomy. So dislocation of elbow is produced by a fall on an outstretched hand with the elbow slightly flexed. The olecranon shifts posteriorly and the elbow is fixed in slight flexion. Normally, in an extended elbow, the tip of the olecranon lies in a horizontal line with the two epicondyles of the humerus, and in the flexed elbow, the three bony points form an equilateral triangle, as we have already discussed on the radial and humerus part. So I'll provide you the link in the description below. Kindly have a look on that videos as well. So these relationships are disturbed in dislocations of the elbow. Moving further to the fractures of olecranon. It is common and is caused by a fall on a point of the elbow. Fracture of the coronoid process is uncommon. Alright, coronoid process fractures are uncommon and usually accompanies dislocation of the elbow. What is Madelung's deformity now? Madelung's deformity is a dorsal subluxation. Alright, it's a dorsal subluxation, means displacement of the lower end of the ulna. Lower end of the ulna gets displaced dorsally due to retarded growth of the lower end of the radius. I hope the video was useful. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and next video will be on carpal bones. So stay tuned. Thank you.